Trenches of the World. Written by Edward Allen Kurtz.
Contents at a glance.
What is a trench? A trench is a hole in the ground, but a trench is a special kind of hole, and it has a certain shape. A trench is usually deeper than it is wide. If it is wide, then it is called a ditch or gully. A trench is also usually narrower than it is long. If it is not long, then it is just a hole. Trenches can be made by natural forces, or they can be man-made cuts in the ground. Some trenches are found on land, while other trenches are found deep below the surface of the ocean on the ocean floor. Let's learn more about trenches. Man-made trenches. Trenches can be made by nature or they can be man-made. Big pieces of equipment like bulldozers or smaller tools like picks and shovels are used to cut man-made trenches. These are used to hide things like water pipes and telephone lines. After the work is done, the trench is filled back in. Archaeologists also used trenches. An archaeologist is a scientist who studies history by digging in the soil to find things used by early humans. If a trench is cut, the archaeologist can see layers of soil. Some layers are older than other layers. Natural trenches. Natural trenches can be formed in several different ways. Trenches can be created through erosion. An example of this would be a stream or river that cuts a trench in the soil over a period of many years. Glaciers can also make trenches. Glaciers are huge and heavy masses of snow and ice that slowly move downhill, so they can create huge trenches. After the snow and ice melt and the glacier disappears, it is easy to see the trench it has created. Another way that trenches can be made is through tectonic plates. Tectonic plates. What are tectonic plates? The crust or surface of the earth is made up of many tectonic plates. These plates are like pieces of a giant jigsaw puzzle. Tectonic plates move. They have moved throughout history and have created many things on Earth like mountains and trenches, and they are still moving. We usually don't think about the Earth's crust moving below our feet, but when there is an earthquake, then we know that tectonic plates are moving. Tectonic plates create trenches on land and on the ocean floor. Rift valleys. A rift is a break, crack, or split in something. A rift valley is created by the movement of tectonic plates. When the Earth's crust is pulling apart, the crust gets thin, the land drops, and a rift valley is formed. After a rift valley is first formed by tectonic activity, erosion can make it deeper. Rift valleys are also called grabens, and they are found on the ocean floor and on the continents. They appear at any elevation, even high up in the mountains. Some rift valleys fill with soil and rocks from the valley walls, but others fill with water. Rift Valley lakes. A rift valley lake is created when tectonic plates form a rift valley, and then later part of this valley becomes filled with water. A rift valley lake can be very deep, and the cliffs around the lake can be quite big and steep. Some of the biggest lakes in the world are found in rift valleys. Lake Baikal in Russia is an example of a rift valley lake. It lies in the Baikal Rift Valley. Lake Tanganyika is in the Aleutian Rift, which is part of the East African Rift. Lake Superior in North America is in the very old mid-continent rift. Ocean trenches. Some rift valleys, like the one where Lake Baikal is found, are formed on land. Others are created on the floor of the ocean. But whether on land or under the ocean, the process is the same. Tectonic plates are pulled apart, and this movement causes a valley to be formed. Rift valleys on the ocean floor are often called ocean trenches. They are usually formed when one tectonic plate is being pulled under a second tectonic plate. Ocean trenches are the deepest places on the Earth's surface, and the deepest are in the Pacific Ocean. Famous rift valleys. The Baikal Rift Valley. There are only 2 rift valleys that are found on Earth's continents. The other rift valleys lie on the ocean floor. The Baikal Rift Valley is one of these 2 continental rift valleys. It is the older of the 2 rift valleys and is found in Siberia, an area in northeastern Russia. It is a rift valley that is filled with a rift valley lake. At 5,387 feet deep, Lake Baikal is the deepest lake in the world. It is also the biggest lake in the world because it holds 20% of all of the unfrozen fresh water on Earth. It is also possibly the oldest lake in the world. Famous rift valleys. The East African Rift. The East African Rift is the second continental large rift valley. It stretches for thousands of miles along the eastern area of the continent of Africa. Scientists think that this rift valley began forming 25 million years ago. The East African Rift runs through many countries in Africa, including Burundi, Ethiopia, Kenya, Malawi, Mozambique, Rwanda, Tanzania, and Uganda. There are many volcanoes in this area like Mount Kenya, Mount Kilimanjaro, and Mount Elgon. There are also many earthquakes around this rift valley. Famous ocean trenches. The Aleutian Trench. The Aleutian Trench is located along the Aleutian Islands and the southern coastline of Alaska. The Aleutian Islands stretch across the northern Pacific Ocean from Alaska westward towards Russia. The Aleutian Trench is over 2,000 miles long and a little under 5 miles deep. It forms a boundary between 2 tectonic plates. Because of this, there are many earthquakes in this area, and the Aleutian Islands are volcanic islands. Many of these earthquakes are known for their size and for causing tsunamis. Famous ocean trenches. The Cayman Trench. The Cayman Trench is also known as the Cayman Trough. It is located in the western part of the Caribbean Sea between the Cayman Islands and Jamaica. The Cayman Trench is the deepest place in the Caribbean Sea. It is just under 5 miles deep. This trench is the boundary between 2 tectonic plates, the Caribbean Plate and the North American Plate. In 2010, hydrothermal vents were found here. A hydrothermal vent is a vent that allows hot water from under the earth to escape. Scientists think this water is hot, 842 degrees Fahrenheit. Famous ocean trenches. The Mariana Trench. The Mariana Trench is one of the most famous ocean trenches in the world because it is the deepest. It is found close to the Mariana Islands in the western Pacific Ocean. The Mariana Trench, also sometimes known as the Marianas Trench, is 1,580 miles long, about 40 miles wide, and nearly 7 miles deep. The temperature at the bottom of this trench is 33 degrees Fahrenheit, just above freezing. Several people have reached the bottom in submarines. A famous movie director, James Cameron, reached the bottom in 2012. Famous ocean trenches, the Peru Chile Trench. The Peru Chile Trench is also known as the Atacama Trench. It is located in the eastern Pacific Ocean, just 100 miles off the west coast of Peru and Chile. The Peru Chile Trench is a little more than 5 miles deep, about 3,500 miles long, and about 40 miles wide. It is the boundary between two tectonic plates, the Nazca Plate and the South American Plate. The bottom of the trench is flat in some areas because volcanic ash and clay have settled there. Many earthquakes happen in this area, and some of them are quite big. Interesting facts. Graben means ditch in the German language. Marine animals that live in deep ocean trenches live in darkness and usually do not have any color. Subduction is the scientific word for the process of one tectonic plate sliding under another tectonic plate. Tectonic plates can also crash against each other, and they can also tear each other apart. Ocean trenches are sometimes called submarine valleys. The Pacific Plate is the biggest tectonic plate on Earth. The volcanic Aleutian Islands form a chain of islands called a volcanic arc. Other volcanic arcs are the countries of Japan and the Philippines. Some hydrothermal vents are known as black smokers. Many of the African Great Lakes, including Lake Albert, Lake Edward, Lake Kivu, Lake Malawi, and Lake Tanganyika, lie in the Albertine Rift in Africa. The Jordan Rift lies between Jordan and Israel in Western Asia and includes the Dead Sea, the lowest sea on Earth. At about 5 miles deep, the Puerto Rico Trench is the deepest part of the Atlantic Ocean. Millions of years ago, when Asia separated from Africa, the Indian Ocean flooded into the Rift Valley and created the Red Sea. The Mariana Trench is about 36,000 feet deep, while Mount Everest, the tallest mountain in the world, is about 29,000 feet deep.